From the moment I could walk, a soccer ball was never far from my feet. I wasn't just playing. I was breathing it. The feel of the grass under my cleats, the satisfying thud of the ball hitting the net, that was my world. I had this natural gift, a way of seeing the field that coaches said couldn't be taught. I could anticipate plays before they happened, my feet moving almost on their own. My bedroom walls weren't covered in posters of pop stars, but of soccer legends. I dreamed of playing for the national team, of hearing thousands of fans chanting my name. That dream felt so real, so close, I could almost taste the victory. My parents were my biggest fans back then. My dad would spend hours with me in the backyard, teaching me how to curve the ball just right. My mom was the one who always had orange slices and a motivational speech ready after every game. They were the foundation of my dream, the wind beneath my wings. I thought we were an unbreakable team, on and off the field, but then, the quiet arguments started. At first, they were whispers behind closed doors, a tension I could feel but not quite understand. The house, which once echoed with laughter and encouragement, became filled with a heavy silence. The whispers grew into raised voices, and the slammed doors became a regular soundtrack to my evenings. I'd try to lose myself in my homework or by juggling my soccer ball in my room, but the anger seeped through the walls. It was like a constant, low-level hum of anxiety that followed me everywhere. My dad stopped coming to the backyard with me. He'd come home from work looking exhausted and retreat to his study. My mom, who was always so vibrant, started to look distant, her smiles never quite reaching her eyes. They tried to hide it from me, to put on a brave face, but kids are perceptive. I saw the strained looks they exchanged over the dinner table, the way they'd flinch if their hands accidentally touched. The team I had always relied on was falling apart, and I was caught in the middle of a game I didn't know how to play. That tension from home began to follow me onto the soccer field. The place that was once my sanctuary now felt like another source of pressure. My focus, once laser-sharp, was now fractured. During practices, my mind would drift back to the fight I overheard the night before. I'd miss a simple pass because I was replaying my mom's tear-stained face in my head. My coach started noticing. He'd pull me aside, asking if everything was okay. "You seem distracted," he'd say, "your head's not in the game." How could I explain that my head was stuck in the wreckage of my family? The joy I felt playing started to fade, replaced by a gnawing anxiety. I started making mistakes I hadn't made in years. My first touch, once so reliable, became clumsy. I'd hesitate before taking a shot, the confidence that once fueled me now replaced by doubt. My teammates tried to be supportive, but they couldn't understand what I was going through. I felt incredibly alone, even when surrounded by my team. The support system I relied on, my parents, was gone. My dad stopped coming to my games altogether, and my mom would sit in the stands, but she looked like she was a million miles away. Her cheers sounded hollow, forced. The lack of their genuine support was like playing with an injury. I was limping through every practice, every game, carrying the invisible weight of my family's turmoil on my shoulders. The field was no longer my escape. It was just another stage where I felt like I was failing. Then came the championship game. This was the match I had been working toward all season, the one the college scouts were coming to watch. This was supposed to be my moment, my chance to shine and secure a scholarship, to prove that all the hard work was worth it. The night before, the fight at home was the worst it had ever been. The word divorce was finally spoken out loud, and it hung in the air like a guillotine. I went to bed with the sound of my mother's sobbing as my lullaby. I barely slept. The next day, I walked onto the field feeling like a ghost. The stadium lights felt too bright, the cheers of the crowd sounded muffled and distant. I saw my mom in the stands, sitting alone. My dad wasn't there. The whistle blew, and the game started. I tried to force myself to focus, to find that fire that always burned inside me, but it was gone. I was a step behind every play. A perfect through ball came my way, an opportunity for a clear shot on goal, the kind of play I lived for. But as I ran for it, all I could see was my dad's empty seat. I hesitated for a split second, and the defender caught up, tackling the ball away. My coach screamed from the sidelines, but I could barely hear him. Later in the game, another chance, a one-on-one with the goalkeeper. In my mind, I saw the net, but I also saw my parents' faces, twisted in anger. I took the shot, but it was weak, unfocused. The keeper saved it easily. The disappointment on my teammates' faces was a physical blow. I felt like I had let everyone down. We lost the game in overtime. As the other team celebrated, I just stood in the middle of the field, feeling nothing but a profound, crushing emptiness. The scouts packed up their notepads and left. My dream, the one that had been so bright and vivid, had just fizzled out under the harsh stadium lights. It wasn't just a game I had lost. It felt like I had lost my entire future. In the weeks that followed, I couldn't even look at a soccer ball. The sight of it brought back a wave of nausea, a reminder of everything I had lost. My parents finally sat me down and told me they were officially separating. It wasn't a surprise, but the finality of it was devastating. I took my cleats, my jerseys, and the posters from my wall and packed them into a box. I told my coach I was quitting the team. He tried to convince me to stay, to take a break and come back. "A talent like yours doesn't just disappear," he said, but he was wrong. Talent isn't just about physical ability. It needs to be nurtured. It needs support, focus, and a safe space to grow. My talent hadn't disappeared, it had been starved. It was suffocated by the constant stress and heartbreak at home. I had to make a choice. I could keep trying to play, to force a passion that was now tied to so much pain, or I could let it go and try to heal myself. I chose to heal. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. For years, I defined myself as a soccer player. Without it, I had to figure out who I was. Looking back, I don't blame my parents for their choices. They were going through their own pain, but their conflict had consequences, and I was one of them. My story isn't about blaming them, but about understanding that the environment we grow up in shapes us in ways we can't always control. I lost my dream, but in its place, I eventually found a different kind of strength, a resilience I never knew I had. My path changed, but my journey continued. And sometimes, learning to let go of one dream is the only way to make room for a new one. Thanks for listening.